This is a watercolor house portrait for Realtor Nano Engdahl. She can be reached at her Libertyville office for Baird and Warner at 847-814-5543. She works for Baird and Warner in Libertyville, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. And this is a closing gift that she is providing to one of her clients who really enjoy working with her and has done a lot for making her one of the best realtors in Lake County, Illinois. So right now I'm going to show you how to do the watercolor house portrait that Nano has ordered for her clients. So basically what I do is take the pen and ink that I have done. I started out with pencil and then made pen and ink, and now it's time for the watercolor. So I have my lights set up here and I have my paints ready and all the elements in order to do the rendering. So what I do now is I build on the photograph that's given to me. And so what I do is I get the water out. The first thing I always do is the sky. I mix a number of blues together in my palette, and then I stroke them as I roll the brush on to my tissue. I don't put it on the paper yet. I wipe it, and that way I've got all these elements on the brush. Then I dip it again, wipe it, and I go back and get those different blues I have. And then I come here and I gently roll those on. So you have different tones of blue. And I don't have a real wet brush. It's just moist enough to capture the pigment so that it rolls and mixes them on the paper. You don't want to mix and blur elements on the palette, because then by the time it reaches the paper, it becomes something else. This way you're mixing it right here on the spot, and it has that fresh look to it. So that's why I do this right there. So that's done. Then I take the brush. I use the larger brush, different size brushes for different details. But for the large elements like the sky and lawns and things that are big, you want to have a larger brush, and then detail I have smaller brushes. So now what I do is I take the biggest area is this brownish grayish, cement driveway. So I'm going to go in here because again it's very large. So I'm going to move into this area. It's more of a brownish color really when you look at it. When you really study this, it's not just a white cement. It's an off, you can almost see like the brick, like the pavers. It's an off-white or almost like a mild gray. So I test the color here a little bit, and just gentle. I just do a gentle stroke along here. So it's suggestive because it's not a dominant tone, but it's dominant as far as area. It's the main area that introduces you into the work of art. So you have to treat that with respect, but you don't want to give it command over the house. So you want it low tone. So this mild tone reflects that, and then later on we'll come back and put some shadow in. So that's done, but I like to do the big things with big brushes, those large areas. Now I'll get either this, I have different size brushes as you can see here, and then I'll take them. I always wash these out, so always make sure it's fresh when I do a new dip. So now the next thing I want to do are the greeneries around the house. So I'm going to start out with some yellow undertoned green. So I have my palette mixed here, and I know where I have certain things on the palette and what inks I use, etc. So I always start light, because you cannot lighten a dark tone. Once you put some dark tone down, you cannot lighten it. So I start out with this tone here, which is a nice fresh light green, and so I'm going to take that up into my trees. Just light. See how nice that looks? And I roll it, and I mix a couple of these yellows and blues, so that way it's all right. So as I roll the brush, those tones are done with it. So here's the same way. I take this and I roll that right there, and they're the same here. Now it's a little brighter yellow in these flowers down here. See, I'll bring the yellow out. See, that looks nice. I'll come back and put a darker tone later. And I put a little brighter yellow up here too. See, brings out that. See, isn't that nice? It fulfills that tone there. And dip it again, just a little bit. I wipe it, I dip it again. So there's still some moisture in there. And I touch these tones here. Now this, I put a light and then a dark. So I'm going to put this lighter element here. Okay, and then I'm going to come back now with a darker tone like that. See how that nicely fills in there? Now I don't want to go beyond the side because I'm going to use this for that space in the mat. So the staircase goes over there. And so now I want to finish off this little wood chip area. So I'm going to grab I have a number of reds, browns, earthen tones mixed even with some yellow, some ochre yellows. And so I mix those together and I get this nice tone there. And again, I sprinkled it on. I'll come back later with a different tone, but it sort of matches that, you know. But you want to just taper it in there. And then what I'll do again, too, is pick up this light color here and put it over here for the cement. Just a little bit of light. Now, and I'll put a little bit of here, too, by the side of the entrance to the stairs. Now, also, I have the whole thing taped off so that as the paper buckles, it won't ripple away the form of the structure. So now I'm going to put some dark, tone on the banisters. So I touch those, get that. Now it's not, like mahogany. That's a stained oak or something like this. So it's a dark color, but it's not real black, teak or something. It's got, you can see there's red in it and stuff. So you want to bring those tones out. So I'm working on that right now, mixing these. And so I'm going to try this out. Voila, that works real nicely. See, it's a nice tone. You don't want anything really darker than this in a watercolor. It just doesn't work. It makes it mucky and dark, and you don't want that feel. So right now I'm just doing the main elements, the main banisters, impediments, and posts. Okay, so I got that. Get those down right there, right here. There. So the essential elements are done. Also that little wooden, they have a little wooden element there for plants or decorative items. So now that first part's done. I'm going to go back with the same tones. I have these reddish tones, ruddy tones, and the brownish tones. And I want to address the steps. Okay, just lightly because the steps have light on them too. So you don't want to make it dark. So just leave air, leave some light space there. Now I'm going to come back here. I'm going to put some other tones of green. So yellows and blues, and even some off greens, turquoise. Put that right in there. A little darker. Underneath this larger tree, right there. And the same over here. Just a little darker right in here. See, it brings that out. See, like you got in there. Now I want to take that same and do the off sides of the trees up here. So you have different tones. See where I have the shadow in there? You want to capture that. There. Just, you need those darker tones to bring out contour. Right. See that? It's because you have dark in there. So that's nice. And then this is ground cover, which is always difficult because it's formless. It doesn't have much, nothing. It's just hard to do it. It's just green. But there it is. Okay. And then some bushes, large leaf items we'll detail later. And then I'll put some shadow in there. And now a little more green over here on this item. There you go. And then we'll stop at the green. We'll come back to that later. And I'm going to just clean this out. Now I'm going to talk about the structure. Okay, it's a light gray. So I'm going to put, the whole thing is gray. So I'm going to have a light gray palette here. I don't like dark. I generally don't like dark anything. So, but here it is here. Now, it looks decent. It's fine. So I just run it right around and see it looks nice. I got it clean, just like the roof. The roof looks lighter because the sun is on it, but it's about this. Right. Same thing with this. Here it is. It's about the same. It looks a little darker here because it's in shade. That looks lighter there because it's in the sun, but in reality, for the purpose of this drawing, it's about like that. You don't want dark. You want fresh. Now what I'm going to do here is bring in some violet tones for shadowing. I'll show you in a second here. Right along here. It'll go well. I'll run that again, just a little darker. See how nice that looks? And I'll take that same tone, bring it down here. There, isn't that great? I'll bring that here and leave the gutter out there so you can see the gutter a little bit. There, so that's done. And I'll take that tone for the window color. While I'm on this color, let's take this tone in the windows. Okay, and then put this here. That looks done. I'll put these windows as well. Done. Now I'm going to go to the earthen colors over here. This nice brick. You got this barium yellows and oranges and things. So that's about like this. So you have this color. Nice tone here. Like that. There you go. And I'm going to put that in a little pot too. It matches it nicely. There you go. Just a touch to bring it down. There. Now that's done. And now that little pot needs a little flower in it or something. So I'll put a little greenery right in there. Right. So they got that. There. That's done. Now I do the same thing again for down in here. We need to darken this more here. Right. There. Then a little darker over here on these spots where I have inking to show the dark shadows. Okay. And also this pot plant to the shade there. All right. So that's done. Now we're getting near the end of this. So now I want to do the shadowing that's on the driveway. So I'm going to take, I'm going to use earthen tones rather than maroon tones. So I'm going to take this and go right across there. And then I'm going to wash it. Hold on. Bam. Just a shadow. Then go over that with a brown. Right, like that. Now, let me see else here. I'm shadowing on the steps. What you want to do in here? I'm going to use maroon tones on that. So just that looks good. You want to get that in between. You need this so you can bring out the continuity of the stairs. There, got that. And just a little darker back in here, so we can bring that out. Doesn't that look nice? Yeah, it brings it out. There. And then a little greenery on this large leaf element. There. And then what I want to do is put some red for roses. So I've got a couple of reds here, and I'm going to put them right there to be like flowers on that pot. Oh, that looks nice. There. And that is it. Drawing is done. So this is the finished watercolor for Nano Engdahl, Realtor in Libertyville, Illinois. If you have any questions about houses and real estate, call Nano. She's the best. And thank you for taking the time to watch.